So we have built this beautiful animation. However, there is a problem in our implementation. Look at this piece of code here. Do you see the problem? What would be your first impression if someone else gave this code to you? The problem is the violation of the separation of concerns principle. We have dedicated large amount of code here to implement animations, and this is distracting us from the actual components implementation. We have to scroll down to see what is going on here. Even if you don't have to scroll down, all this is extra noise. Here in this file, our focus should be on the component, not the animation. For the same reason that here we don't have the template or the styles for this component. They are defined in separate files. So to make this code clean and more maintainable, I'm going to extract all this animation code and put it in a separate file. So here in the zippy folder, I'm going to add a new file and call it zippy.component.animations.ts. Now back in our component. So here in the animations array, we are defining a trigger. This trigger function returns an animation trigger metadata object. So we can simply extract this trigger and put it in a separate file. Like this. Paste it here. Now we need to import all these animation functions from Angular/animations. So back in the zippy component, on the top, I'm going to cut this line and move it here. So now all our animation code for this zippy component is in a separate file. Now finally here, we need to export an object so we can use it in our zippy component. So I'm going to export a constant, call it expand collapse, and set it to this trigger function. And finally, let's go back to our zippy component. In the animations array, I'm going to add expand collapse. Look, our component is a lot cleaner. We no longer have to import the animation functions on the top. Our component metadata object is not polluted with so much animation code, and we can easily focus on the components implementation. Now here I want to share a personal opinion. Even though in the component metadata, we only have 4 lines of code, and this is not too bad, but it could be better. I hope someday in the future, Angular team adopt the convention over configuration principle, so we don't have to explicitly set the template and style URLs here, because they look very repetitive in every component. And all these components we generate with Angular CLI, they all follow a convention. That is the name of the component, .component, either HTML or CSS. So I personally see this as redundant. With convention over configuration, our component metadata would only have what is really necessary. But anyway, we don't have that at the moment, so hopefully sometime in the future.